What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com, host of the Sports Card Strategy Show. Welcome to Lefty Cards right here on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network, discussing the latest trends, best practices, and insider tips on sports card investing. This episode is brought to you by NoOffSeason.com, the number one place to make money flipping sports cards. Get a free 30-day trial today at NoOffSeason.com. And now, everybody, it's time for Lefty Cards.
It's become a regular thing around here on any of our shows at NoOffSeason.com that I love to dance to the music as we come into the show. So welcome on into Lefty Cards, yet another show with Turner and I where we are going to help you make sports cards or make money. We're not going to be making sports cards around here. We're going to be making money. No, not yet. Yeah, that's true. Making money, making sports card moves, and how you can potentially grow your portfolio while having a lot of fun along the way. Our show is predominantly a 45-minute show about news in the hobby, what we're going through as collectors, what we're going through as investors, opportunities we see, and we're going to add some little segments here and there. Some of our shows previously, years and decades ago, involved something that is a segment we're going to bring back during Turner time for the foreseeable future. So we are going to bring back a segment that I won't give it right away. I won't do it yet, but we teased it last week. So if you are a weekly listener to the Lefty Card Show, then you know what we're going to talk about. But thank you guys for all the great listeners, all the great subscribers, and all of those faithful listeners at leftycards.com. We are so excited to be here. Another Monday where we get to hang out and talk cards together. Turner is straight from the calf. He has come out from the calf today, and he's got a lot of content for us today. We've got some segments. Incredible, just an absolute curveball was thrown to us in the Browns game. I've had a couple of good sales this week. We're going to talk a little bit about our Panini instance. And we're going to talk about how pictures could be a big deal. So we're going to talk about that's our rundown, and then we'll go into some potential plays for 2025 if we get that far in the 45 minutes, because we also have the gauntlet, which is what we are going to run into from now on. Turner time is going to bring us a nice, tasty little gauntlet for us to run through, and I think that will bring good content, because as he gives the gauntlet to me, I will be able to talk through why I choose certain cards or other cards, and generally just by me processing out loud, you're able to enter the mind of the creator per se, and get some good feedback from that. Turner, how are you, my man? It is October 21st, 7:03 p.m. in the great state of Kentucky. What are you up to this week?
I'm doing good. I'm fresh out of basketball practice from 4 to 6. So I went to the calf, and now I'm here. So maybe a little stinky, but I'm here. But I've been fresh into basketball practice, and still doing my thing with school, and still making time for cards. That's for sure.
You know what the greatest thing about a podcast is, Turner?
Is that they can't smell me.
They cannot smell you. That is exactly where I was going with that. I would say you have a face for radio, but our
debatable.
Yeah, debatable. That's why you have a face for YouTube Live. So we'll put it that way. So it's not quite TV, but it's better than a face for radio. So you can go home and tell your mom that Kendall gave you a compliment saying that your face was good enough for YouTube Live. How about that?
I'll take it.
So first off, we want to start off with, have you made any card sales or acquisitions this week?
I ended up getting out of my Prism base Wemby. I had a PSA 10 just for the preseason hype. I made, I want to say about $30 into that play. So I'm taking that and just getting it from the next potential submission with whenever these Panini Instant cards come back, because who knows whenever they're coming back.
We'll definitely be talking about that today. Joel Kaplan reached out to me today and said, when are our cards coming in? And I said, you know what? As close as my relationship is with Panini, they have not let me know. So and for those of you that are new to this show, I have zero connections to Panini. So just a facetious moment. So Turner, if I remember correctly, you bought a Topps Chrome PSA 10, or not a Topps Chrome, what am I trying to say? Prism PSA 10 of that Wemby card when we were at the National, maybe?
No, that was in one of my past submissions.
Okay, and so how much did you have in the card?
I had about, I think, $70 to $75.
So you were able to get out of that card for around 100, 110?
Yes.
Is that before or after taxes?
I need to look. I'm pretty sure that is before. Because I think I ended up netting $90. And so it was probably around a $20 profit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made $90.
So you just had the base Prism 2010 that is now down. The last sale was at $100. I'm assuming that was maybe yours?
I'm pretty sure I sold mine for 105.
All right, so let's see. Let's check the last sale on 10/17, which was last week, was $105.
Yes.
So is that you?
Yes.
Crazy, man. I really figured that there would be some preseason hype. And if you look at the chart work of this card, in the last 90 days, it's trickled down. It was just interesting. Do you think we'll see a pop when the games are actually beginning to be played? Is it tomorrow night?
Yeah. One thing that I'm starting to notice, and it's definitely something that I'm going to try to do moving forward, is trying to go to more like higher stuff like silvers, because as you can see down low, the pop count for this base PSA 10 is 22,000, which is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And so that definitely plays in a part of the price, because there's so many that are for sale that it's going to bring the price down. But if you have something like a silver, then the price will definitely be more influenced by it, like preseason hype or like performance markers. So that's why I'm personally like taking mental notes whenever it's something like this happens.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to me when we're looking at this this sale chart, and it says that the 105 sale, there was 23 sales at $105 on 10/17. Like, that's just crazy. We've got 30 sales the next day, 27 sales the next day, somehow one sale the next day. Pretty crazy. And so that's just it's a good thing to look at when you're looking at the pop count of a card potentially driving the price down, just because it's a race to the bottom. And we've said that terminology before. But either way, you were able to make some money out of this play because it was a raw to grade play that you made. So great job, Turner. Glad that you were able to get some margin on that and be able to put it towards your next play. Building Time Machine, shout out to them. And they say, my favorite podcast I finally am catching live. We appreciate that. And I gave you guys all a shout out earlier in the episode, Building Time Machine. So I hope that you are able to go back to that and feel the love that we feel for you, as the Lefty Card Show is totally maybe not a fan favorite yet, but it will be a fan favorite, but it is a fan focused show. And we're just able to create content that is fun and easy to listen to while also in the sphere of sports cards. So, Turner, we talked about your sales. We've talked about your wins. And we've talked about your losses. Before we get to our first episode, or our first commercial of the night, something incredibly upsetting happened to us the other day. We had an absolute just kick in the balls happen on Sunday when, unfortunately, now I don't want to, I'm going to say this, and you guys know that I do not root for injuries no matter how anti I am a player. But there was an injury in my said Browns game that was able to vault a backup quarterback into the game. I did not celebrate the injury, But I had been looking forward to when that backup quarterback would get his said opportunity, and I thought it would happen because the front office would say this guy's absolutely doing nothing. Turns out Deshaun Watson has a ruptured Achilles, and I'm not rooting for that. But what I am rooting for is I was rooting for the opportunity for Jameis Winston to get in this game. So he immediately goes down. I immediately know what a torn Achilles looks like. It looked exactly like Rodgers did, exactly like Kobe's did, exactly like Durant's did. It's very easy to tell. Your whole leg shock waves when you're just putting weight on your toes. It's very easy to tell what a torn Achilles looks like. When he tears his Achilles, I literally text Turner right away and say, it's crab legs Winston time, which, by the way, small moniker. Paul Hickey asked us the other day, why do I call him crab legs? Turner, why do we call him crab legs?
Because he got in trouble at Florida State for stealing crab legs.
Yes, he did get in trouble, and by that we mean arrested, for stealing crab legs from his local grocery store when he was a 5-star, not even recruit. He was literally a starter on the Florida State Seminoles team. And he literally goes out to his local grocery store and steals crab legs. Like, first off, he was so obviously a celebrity in that city. I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with that. And two, crab legs Winston is forever what I'll be calling him after that. But so we thought that as this injury was happening, I texted Turner. I said, "It's crab legs time, baby. These crab legs cards that we had been looking forward to were about to get immediately listed. I had already had the drafts preloaded in eBay. I was ready to hit the list now button. I was so excited, and I told Turner, I was like, "This is our moment." And what happens, Turner?
He goes to QB3 somehow.
Somehow, we did not catch it, but he did fall to quarterback 3 apparently last week in the depth chart, and I want to get the name right because I mess up his. Yeah, I know the acronym DTR, but Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR, fully just vaulted him and immediately was in the game. Now I will say this. He didn't look good. He didn't look bad, but he didn't look good. And so I think there will be an opportunity for Crab Legs Winston to get in there. And as you guys know, at this point, we're here for the meme of it. Me and Turner have about maybe $10 invested in the entire portfolio of our Jameis Winston cards. And we are just for the meme of it at this point. But I got out of my Deshaun cards before he had his Achilles rupture, so that's good. And then so we feel like the Deshaun or the Winston cards will be selling in the future. We've got quite a bit of live chat love here. Terry Anderson is saying, what a time machine. They should be able to go back easy. That'd be nice. Pick 6 cards. Hello, all. We love having you. And then we've got Building Time Machine again, dropped in the draft because he was a troublemaker. He also is a little bit of an airhead from my perspective. So I want Winston to get his opportunity. And Amari Cooper immediately goes to the Bills and scores a couple of touchdowns with Josh Allen. So there is talent on this roster. It just is being covered up by a lot of other issues. So anything you want to say about crab legs?
We want more crab legs. That's all I got to say.
More crab legs, baby. Okay, let's jump to our first commercial. We will be right back with you guys that are watching live.
What's up, everyone? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. Why should you subscribe to NoOffSeason.com's premium membership? Do you like the content on this show? Want more? Well, a free 30-day trial membership at NoOffSeason.com gives you a Friday edition of the Sports Card Strategy Show called The Overflow Show. It's a premium podcast for members only every Friday, and you can ask an unlimited amount of questions to build your sports card investment portfolio, and I answer them for you. I put in the work, research, and do the analysis, give you the best possible answer so you can increase your chances of making money flipping sports cards. And if that's not enough reason to sign up for a free 30-day trial today, you get Sports Card School, tons of premium members-only articles, and our new formula-based sports card rankings to help you find the cards with the best ROI to make money in the hobby. Sign up today at NoOffSeason.com.
Love it. Thanks, Paul, again. We love nooffseason.com. I've talked about them earlier in the episode, but Paul's done a lot to help me grow my business and help me grow my brand and help Turner get into spots that neither one of us wanted to walk into alone, and Paul was able to advocate for both of us, so shout out to Paul. I just realized what Terry Anderson was saying when he said with a time machine, they should be able to go back easy, because I said at the beginning of the show, we shouted out the love that we've got for the fans. And he's saying they should go back in the time machine too. So totally missed that, Terry. That was funny. And then Building the Time Machine said the front office is afraid Winston is going to hit all those receiver bonuses. They probably are going to win the MLS Cup because the same owners also have the Columbus Crew, and the Columbus Crew are doing nasty things with the soccer ball. And so I don't think they're short on cash. I think they're just short on maybe giving him a long leash. So, okay. We talked about earlier in the episode that I was able to move out of two of my big pieces from the National this last week. This last week, I was able to sell not one, but two $1,000 cards that I was able to move into. So I sold the Jose de Paula last week, and I also sold the Bobby Witt Jr. card as of yesterday. Did not expect to move this card, and I did not expect this card to move so quickly either. I had it set on buy it now for $1,800 when the average being sold was right around the price I paid for it. So if I was going to sell it on eBay, I knew I was going to have to sell it for way more than recent comps. So I was prepared to hold this card up until March, which is okay with me because I think he's a perennial MVP candidate. And if I have to hold a perennial MVP candidate until March, like boo-hoo, there's much worse ways to hold $1,000 worth of inventory than a Bobby Witt Jr. auto. But I was able to move into a Bobby Witt Jr. Bowman Chrome Auto PSA 10. It's just the base auto, but it's still a great card for around $1,000 at the National. It was a really cool moment for me where I was able to buy my first 4-digit card. It was a deal that I walked away from, and then the guy ended up walking me down at the National, tapping me on the shoulder and said, you know what, I got to do that deal. Let's go back to it. So it ended up working really good for me. So I had it listed on a buy it now on my eBay store just to see, what was out there, if people were going to put in an offer that I could really do. Well, I started getting some I don't know for what reason, but I started getting a lot of viewership on this card about a week ago when the Royals were firmly eliminated from the playoff. I don't know what happened. And I started getting offers right at comps or just over comps, which was around what I paid for it. I would have had a net loss with the taxes and everything. But I had it listed about $800 over comps just because I was like, look, I was verbally or non-verbally telling the people, I'm not interested in selling this card at the current value. I want to hold it. So this guy was going back and forth with me. He was like, hey, can we talk on Instagram? And because, maybe we can do an offline deal. He wanted to pay about $900. Wasn't what I was looking for. I said I would have to at least get maybe 1,500 or something like that. There's just no way I can do this. Or not 1,500, 1,150 and straight cash. And I was just like, I don't know. And so he ends up walking away. He's like, hope you get it for it. So I get another offer that night for the same amount of money. And I was like, we just talked about this. I thought it was the same guy. I was like, we just talked about this. So I just replied, I counter offered at $1,400. I was like, look, I'll give you $400 off. $1,400 I know is over comps, but I don't really want to trade this card, so I could be persuaded to. The guy ends up coming back and says, okay, I'll do $1,300. And I was like, okay. Press accept, and it's not the same guy. Some other guy was wanting the card for the same price. So I ended up accepting the offer at $1,300, which was $300 over the most recent sold. So I don't know if this guy just wasn't looking at comps or just really wanted this card or what. But I accepted the offer. He paid, which I was a little bit concerned about as well. He paid. After taxes and fees, I still made a 14.7% profit on my card, which I was happy with. I was able to get the cash flow before we move into the November and December months, so that's good. I now have moved out of 3 of my big high ticket national buys. I bought a Bobby Witt Jr. auto. I bought a Jose DePaulo, which I'll talk about briefly in just a second. And then I had a Connor Bedard that I sold on opening night of the NHL season. So I was able to move back into almost $3,000 of my cash flow to have during the November-December window. Now, let me talk about the Jose DePaula card for a second. Jose DePaula his market is not up. He's actually quite down from July. But I was able to move out of his card with a $60 net loss on a $1,000 play. So I was able to sell my card for $940 without fees. So this was off eBay. And the reason why I ended up doing that is because Jose DePaula actually, I believe, will have a pretty long runway to the majors. He's still pretty young. I don't expect him to be up in the major leagues in March, much less probably not even next year, maybe a whole nother year before he gets into the majors unless something crazy happens. I don't want to necessarily be holding $1,000 of my cash flow and not be able to move into other cards between now and then, trusting that when I do want to buy back into Jose DePaula, I will have enough cash flow at that point to buy back in. So I had a $60 net loss on what I thought I was going to be a quick flip because I thought it was going to go up I thought all Dodgers cards were going to go up when the Dodgers were making a really serious postseason run, which it didn't necessarily do. So I'm not that sad about it. Ultimately, the two cards together do a net push. Like I'm pretty much just got my $2,000 back out of these two cards, and then I was able to put a nice profit together with the Connor Bedard. So that's what I'm doing with these three pieces. And then I have three quarterbacks left, the three quarterbacks cards that I have left are an out of 75 Jared Goff, BGS 9.5. It's a beautiful thing. I have the rookie ticket auto from Jared Goff. And then I also have a purple laser or a blue laser with Lamar Jackson, and the PSA 9 version of this card. I have a PSA 10. The PSA 9 version just sold for $30 less than I paid for the PSA 10 at the National. So pretty excited about that. So that's a little update from my big purchases and where we are at going into the winter months. Any thoughts?
Very valid. I of course like your play with the Bobby Witt, just because you're standing firm with that. I was looking at the notes and I didn't know if your stuff was after taxes too. So it's definitely a great thing that you made 14% profit even after taxes, because the eBay fees are pretty brutal these days. Yeah,
I was able to get out of this for I think I got it was like $140-ish were taken in taxes from the 1,300, or maybe it's a little more than that. Anyway, it was enough I still made a 14.7% profit of where I bought into the card with the actual cash that I was able to move into it, because as you remember, it was cash plus a PSA 10 of a Basalo that I was $30 into that card. So definitely was a win for me.
There you go. That's all you can ask for.
As we said earlier, we still have no Caitlin Clark update. We still have no Arch Manning update. We still have any of the other
grenade updates.
No grenade updates. We are still waiting in expectation. Turner and I, and even Paul Hickey, do not have any inside source to Panini to know when these cards are coming or when they are going to be here. Unfortunately, I do have over $1,000 tied up in those cards as well. So. So that's more cash flow that I would like to be moving out of, but I'm okay with it. Quinn Ewers does not look like the quarterback that Arch Manning is. They got absolutely pounded by Georgia. And I'm not really that sad about that. I think Arch Manning has the opportunity to come in and ride in like a hero if Quinn Ewers doesn't ever turn the ship around, which then could vault his prices astronomically. All right, let's roll to our next commercial. Then we will have one other update, and then we will go into what we call Turner time.
Kendall, are these people ready to start grading their sports cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today.
All right. This is the only thing that I wanted to talk about before we jump into the gauntlet. Is a couple of weeks ago we talked about how I bought a Michael Porter Jr. card that was this card right here. The photos aren't great. You see, like, they have like this weird thing in the corner that looks like a thumb, and I'm assuming that it's a couch cushion or something. Lighting is bad. You can't really tell what's going on. And the worst part about this was it was listed as a prism. It was just listed as a base prism. It is, in fact, a Prism Silver, which is much more prestigious. Even though it's Michael Porter Jr., this isn't going to blow the doors off. But this I was able to get in after taxes, $15. I think I paid $10, and then after taxes, it ended up being $15. Currently, this is a $30 card. And if you look at, I was able to send it immediately to my vault, and these are the pictures that the vault is coming out with.
Wasn't it also like not listed as PSA 10?
Yeah, it was just a bad listing in general. But now that the pictures are coming in from my PSA vault, look at this in comparison to the other picture. Like, this is the exact same card, and this is the back of it as well. Like, of course, they've got a lot of technology to be able to put this together, but these two images are priced completely different. This on the left. Now, for those of you that aren't watching live, I will probably try to make an Instagram post about this because it's really valuable when you're looking at their actual sales. But on the left, this card shows that even if it was listed correctly, it's just not as appealing as the one on the right. Now, there's a lot of technology differences, and I wish I knew what kind of camera and setup that this scanner was coming through. With the PSA labels, I would love to scan everything I have because I think it's a beautiful picture quality. Because, I mean, this yellow to purpleness of the actual Prism Silver looks amazing. I mean, on this card, you can tell it's a silver, but it's still off-colored. But the PSA version of it that we're looking at here on the right, that is a $30 to $50 image quality. Like, that is the card that I'm going to sell for $50 and make $35, $40 profit on. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at your eBay listings, try to get this image when you're looking at it. A way to do that is, if you're selling slabbed cards, is to type in this the cert number into PSA and get the actual PSA footage of when they sent you the image in the first place. That is the best way to do that. You can't do that obviously with raw cards. And you can't do that with BGS cards, as what I know of. And you can do that with SGC, but you have to have an account. So just try to get the best quality pictures you can, because it will end up making you money in the long run. That's the last thing I wanted to talk about. That is a small segment of how these Michael Porter Jr. card play is playing off. And I want to be able to show you guys in the future that I sell this card for $50 plus eventually someday. So, all right, Turner. It is now Turner time.
Huge. We need a theme song or something like that.
Yeah, we do. Take it away, dude.
All right. So today we are going to do a gauntlet session once again. If you all watched last week, I reintroduced actually the gauntlet. So I had multiple matchups, and this week we have some interesting matchups as well. So Kendall, we'll go to the first one here. Is two Phoenix Suns players.
Explain what the gauntlet is.
Okay.
For those of you guys that are new.
So the gauntlet is basically you put cards against each other, put athletes against each other, and we're basically the judges here. We determine, in our opinion, basically what card we think is better between the two and why. Because you have to have a strong argument. You can't just say an opinion and not have like backup for it whatsoever. So we basically just try to clash back and forth and see like if we agree or not on certain matchups. And so this is good basically to determine like going forward, like if there's a valid argument for a card, people are going to notice, and even like you could notice it from me or I can notice from you, and we may like go look and buy that card. So there are many, many different reasons why the gauntlet is very entertaining and very beneficial.
Yeah, great explanation. And I just wanted to answer this question that came in live from Terry Anderson. Yeah, we can do that for sure. The PSA Vault is something I use that's pretty beneficial to how I sell cards and how I move things straight from PSA submissions into selling them on eBay. And I talked about how the 4% extra that they take off. As of right now, the 4% extra that they take is much more worth my time than some of the other stuff. So, okay, let's move forward with the gauntlet. We will hit the first one. So what's the first matchup?
So we've got two Phoenix Suns players. We've got Devin Booker, his 2015 Panini Prism PSA 10 versus Kevin Durant's Topps Chrome 2007 PSA 9. So they're very similar in price. I'll go into my opinion here. I think that I would go with Devin Booker's card here. I do like Kevin Durant's card, don't get me wrong. But Kevin Durant has had a lot of time to prove himself. He's scored a lot of points. He's done a lot, and he can still prove himself more. But Booker had to play a point guard, more of a point guard role last year, and it kind of limited his points per game. I'm pretty sure he went down a little bit. But now that they've got Tyus Jones at point guard, Booker's going to be more off the ball, like whenever he was with Chris Paul. And Booker's prices were up like a bunch whenever he was playing with Chris Paul. Chris Paul made him look like a bucket because he is a bucket. And so that's why I'm going with Devin Booker here.
Okay. So this card, this is the base version of a card that I studied a lot about a year ago. The Devin Booker card, that is. I studied the PSA 10 silver of this card with Connor about a year and a half ago. We were really diving into silver prism prices of the top 15 players, and Devin Booker's, in my opinion at the time, I think I said that I thought that Devin Booker's was overpriced because the PSA 10 silver of this card was going for $1,000, and you were seeing some guys like I can't think of it at this point, but I think it was like in the same level as Giannis, I want to say, and or at least the hoops version of his card, which is the equivalent in my mind to a lot to explain right there right now. But the equivalent card to Giannis was at the same level as Devin Booker, and I just thought Devin Booker didn't have the portfolio that Giannis had. I thought it was overvalued. Now, this $117 value, especially when compared to the $120 valuation of this Kevin Durant card, I think is a lot more fun of a comparison. Now, if you look at the last 90-day chart history on this card, in September 3rd, the Kevin Durant version of this card sold for $200. And September 4th, the version of this card from Devin Booker sold for $100. So about 30 days ago, maybe a little bit over 30 days ago, this card was almost $100 of differential value. And when we look at 365 data or 365 days data, there have been days where Devin Booker's was $100 higher than Kevin Durant, which is interesting to me because they were both on this, if I remember correctly, they're both on this American or USA roster. They were both on the Olympic roster. They're both on the Phoenix Suns. They're both getting up there in age. Of course, Kevin Durant is much, much older, but still like definitely both proven veterans. One of them's probably a superstar, and one of them is probably just a star bordering on superstar. So it's interesting to me that they are around the same price, especially when their pop count is fairly similar as well. And I think that's what I have to go look at. I have to go look at which of these cards has the less pop count and could be driven higher, even if it's minute, by a scale that's a little bit better. And the pop count of the Devin Booker card is about 200, almost 200 less than the pop count of Kevin Durant card, which is about a 10% valuation difference. So right away, I wanted to say Devin Booker because I hate Kevin Durant. And we've talked about that a lot. But I tried to take the emotion out of it and look for other reasons why I could potentially choose between these cards. And it came down to the 10% difference in pop count for me. So Devin Booker base 2015 Prism is where I'm going to land.
All right, we're 1-for-1 on choosing the same card here.
All right, what's the next one?
All right, the next one. This is going to be an interesting one. So we've got 2019 Panini Chronicles Ja Morant, number 116, his PSA 10 versus 1990 NBA Hoops Mark Jackson PSA 9. So with both of these cards have something special with the background. As you can see, if you can see it on the live stream, it has the parentheses. But with Ja Morant's card, not only is young Dolph behind, but you can see to the left are the adopted parents of Michael Oher, from The Blind Side. Did you know this?
I did, yes.
Yeah. So there are multiple different things with this card to make it just like a completely like special and just a very unique card.
Yeah.
And so that's why I chose that one.
Yeah, love that choice. And what makes the other one special?
The other one is special because first off, I'm pretty sure it's the first year NBA hoops, but with that, you can see to the left are Eric and Lyle Menendez, who they have a story that you can look up for another day. But they're coming to light a little bit right now because there's a documentary and there's a TV show series right now on them. So
hey, I don't mind saying it, and it's my podcast, so they killed their parents.
yeah, they did.
Weird. They killed their parents and then went to a Knicks game that same night.
Yes. So
that's so weird.
Yeah. So and I've actually seen the documentary about that. So
you know what's better than killing your parents? Let's just go see Mark Jackson play. What the?
No, they got all that. They got their parents' money and got courtside seats. So that's even more to it.
It's just so weird.
But yeah, that's the irony with this card.
The fact that was captured in something like this is just kind of awesome, honestly.
Yeah. And you know what's even crazier? Have you seen the price of PSA 10 on this?
Yeah. So I know that the price of this card went crazy because of the documentary over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to choose this one and then compare it to a card of something else with that. But yeah, PSA 10 is at basically $700.
Yeah, $695 as of right now. And the last week it sold for $815 or $817. So pretty wild.
But yeah. So
are you looking at a 1-for-1 here, or are you looking at a 2-for-1?
Looking at a 2-for-1.
Okay, so 2 Mark Jackson PSA 9s or 1 Ja Morant 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad brings up a good point here, but I love the comparison of this just because of the story behind it. And really, they're both base cards. They're both like a very average card that both of these companies didn't expect for this card to be anything. Like when they put Mark Jackson on this card in 1990s hoops, this was just number 205. It was just like another one to fill out the set. And the same with this Chronicle. Nothing great comes out of Chronicles. Because, I mean, like rookie ticket autos, maybe, like that. We can count that. But then like everything else is just a bunch of crap. And so like basically they'll have like a pink variation every once in a while or something. It's just dumb. So 2019 Chronicles, this was just another card. Of course, it's cool with him having the alternate Grizzlies uniform in there and stuff. But this was only made cool because of who's in the background as well. And I think it's really cool to see these cards side by side where, like at one point we could have said, wow, this is crazy. Melendez brothers in the background. Would anything like that ever happen again? And turns out it did. Plus, it's kind of happened again twice in this card because there's two now, not quite to the same degree. Right. Like obviously, just being in the background of a card is one thing, but like the reason why the Menendez brothers are in the background of the card is a whole different thing, which is why the PSA 10 goes for, 4 times or 3 times what the Ja Morant PSA 10 is going for.
Right.
I'm going to choose Ja Morant just because he's an active player. And this is totally on the hype of Mark Jackson right now, and it eventually will fall. So I'm going to, even though you're 2-for-1ing me, I am still going to choose the Ja Morant, and it's a PSA 10 rather than a PSA 9. I feel like it'll be easier to move in the long run. Great gauntlet, though.
Thank you.
All right, what's
Okay.
next?
Next one is we have the 2018 quarterbacks. We have Panini Prism Lamar Jackson, PSA 10, versus Panini Prism Josh Allen, PSA 10.
All right. Are you going to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Well, it is so hard for me not to just blindly choose Lamar Jackson because I have the Prism laser version of this card already in my portfolio. And if I'm honest, if I have to just choose just on vibes alone, I'm choosing Lamar over Josh Allen because I feel like Lamar's this is going to be a crazy statement. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a crazy statement. I feel like it's not a crazy statement. Yeah, Chad says you picked Lefty's Lamar card. How could he play against that? That's exactly where I was kind of thinking, but I'm going to try to prove myself wrong somehow, but I think it's Lamar Jackson all day long. Josh Allen just is way more of a threat to hurt himself. And that might be a controversial statement considering that they both play a very similar game. But I have seen over the last couple of years, like they both came out in the same draft class. And at this point, Lamar is relying a lot more on his arm and on his brain in my mind than Josh Allen is. Now that could be a crazy take because I feel like what we know of Josh Allen is that he has a cannon of an arm and will do anything to win a football game, which is great. But like what I know about Lamar Jackson is he is a good game manager and he is athletic enough to get out of spots that are tight, but he's also able to win an MVP. So like they're very close in comparison, but I feel like Josh Allen just leans way too much on his body. Like he's like, I'm 6'5" and I'm bigger than these defenders. I'm just going to run right through them. I don't know if that's going to add up in the long run. Lamar Jackson, we've seen him be a little bit smarter with his body after some of his injuries earlier in his career. So I like the Lamar Jackson card. Plus, here's the defining characteristic. I know it's $45 more expensive right now, and over the last 90 days, we've seen it dip way cheap. But this pop count on this PSA 10 is 750. The pop count on the Josh Allen is 2,144. That's crazy. That's 3 times the amount of Josh Allen PSA 10s as Lamar Jackson PSA 10s. I don't know why that to be the case, considering they came out in the same release. But I just think it's funny that there's 3 times more Josh Allen cards as there are Lamar Jackson cards. So I tried to prove myself wrong, but I'm picking Lamar Jackson all day on this one.
I do like your points, and this is definitely like a hard decision because both of these guys are probably like top 5, maybe even top 3 quarterbacks, probably even top 3 quarterbacks in the league. I just feel like Josh Allen has proven himself a lot this year, and to Chad's point, like this is basically what I was about to say is what Chad just said. The Bills surprised me along with everybody else because you see that Stephon Diggs gets traded and you think like, oh, who the heck is Josh Allen going to throw the ball to? And then he rocks with Keon Coleman, and then he rocks with his other wide receivers, and the Bills like look pretty hard to stop right now. And to your point, you said that like Josh Allen's got a cannon, and now that he got Amari Cooper on his squad too, who is probably going to be wide receiver 1 in Buffalo, like he just got another weapon. I feel like the sky's the limit for the Bills for this next part. They are probably going to be a hot team in football. The Ravens are a hot team in football already, but like I said, I feel like with Josh Allen adding a wide receiver 1 to his weapons and him looking good already is what's going to drive his prices up.
So Bills Ravens, say they play each other this week. I know they don't, but say they do. Who do you think wins that game?
Probably the Bills.
Wow.
And I know that's going to be bold, but
what's the X factor to you? Is it Amari Cooper?
I was about to say this. The X factor, and this goes with all sports, any time of the year, you go with the hot team. It doesn't matter like what the team's record is. whatever team is hot at that moment. You could see it like, I'm gonna say it like with March Madness, for example. You've got like a couple years ago, you had a team called Loyola Chicago, the 11 seed. They win their first 2 games, and all of a sudden, boom, they're in the Final Four as an 11 seed. Who the heck thought Loyola Chicago's in there? But it was because they went on a hot streak and they just kept rolling. I'm gonna go with the Bills because they're on a hot streak right now, and they're just gonna keep it rolling.
All right. Well, I mean, we could argue that all day long because I'm taking the Ravens, man. I think it's side-by-side comparison of all these guys other than at wide receiver, the Ravens are going to win this game. I don't trust the Damar Hamlin Bills defense over there. I know they've played good, but like that guy died a couple of months ago, so I just had to throw that in there. I had to figure out a way for Damar Hamlin to make an appearance on our podcast about sports cards. But let's so I'm taking, this is our split decision, I guess, right? So you're taking Josh Allen, I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
The Bills are willing to die on the field.
Yeah, you're all right. Fair enough. Let's go to the next one.
All right, my next one is we've got a Panini Prism Silver Justin Herbert PSA 9 versus a Panini Prism Silver Anthony Richardson PSA 10.
All right, so we got another 9 versus a 10 scenario here, which I always skew towards the 10, and we've talked about this a million times. But Justin Herbert silver, and a lot different than an Anthony Richardson silver. There's a lot of pre-baked value in a Herbert card. As you can see, if we look at the all-time data, the Justin Herbert value was crazy at one point for a 9. So that's insane. At one point, it was up to $965 for a PSA 9 of this card. Pretty wild. But as of right now, it's around $150, and the last sale for the Anthony Richardson is at $219. So they're, you could say, comparable. Like not too long ago, they sold for the same price at around $200. So $235-ish. They sold for around the same price here less than a month ago. So we can say that they are fairly comparable. Okay. I'm going to try to not go off of just my regular bias again, because my regular bias here is Justin Herbert is old news and I'm in on Anthony Richardson. That's my first inclination. But when I look at the success of their teams, I think the Chargers probably have well, let me ask you this. What's the time limit on this card?
Maybe till playoffs?
Till the playoffs. So between 3 months or 2 months. Okay. Then I'm taking,
because both teams are borderline 500. They're one. I'm pretty sure both teams are one game above 500, and that's basically why I chose that, is because they can both be in the wild card.
Yeah, I think hasn't Herbert been hurt
At the beginning of the year, yeah.
Yeah, so they both like coming off of injury.
Yeah, both are banged up a little bit.
Anthony Richardson has been fighting with rock fighting with Joe Flacco over who's going to be the quarterback to win.
Both have had controversy.
Both
too.
have had, yeah, that's
and
true.
That's why I wanted to have this matchup.
This is where do you? I'm just curious. Where are you going on this one?
I'm going to AR, and it's because of the schedule.
Okay.
Herb's like schedule is. I mean, I'll have to pull it up, but the Chargers, they're gonna have to play the Chiefs again, minimum. And let's look at here. So,
is it Chiefs, Raiders,
Broncos.
Seahawks, and Broncos and
so the Chargers play, well, bottom. Okay, here we go. They do have a 3-4 game stretch of playing the Cardinals, Saints, Browns, and Titans. Should win all of those games.
Wow.
But then they go Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks.
Wow.
I don't see a win in there.
So they could go 4 straight and then 4 straight.
Yeah. And then you've got the Colts, we're fresh off a win against the Dolphins, who are awful. The Colts, ooh, yeah, I don't know, because now they play the Texans, Vikings, Bills, and then Jets, Lions, Patriots. So the Colts bottom half of their schedule is what will help them. So yeah, I'm gonna still go with my point, because after they play the Lions, they play the Patriots, Broncos, Titans, Giants, and Jags, who are all pretty mid.
Yeah, so the end of season, they could be getting some fuel for the playoffs rather than coming off of tough losses.
Yes. So I'll stand with my point. The Chargers end on some tough games, and the Colts end on some what should be easy games.
Yeah, I think if I was holding longer than 3 months, I think I would choose Herbert, because I think over the next couple of years he redeems himself, especially with Harbaugh being able to build a system around him and him being fully healthy. But with it being a PSA 9, and with us having a short-term hold, and with the Chargers going to probably not make the playoffs, in my assumption, even if they go on that 4-4 streak, I don't think they end up making it in. And the Colts could squeeze in there, and I think that Anthony Richardson is a guy that people could hype into. So I'm going to take AR there, even though it's actually closer than I think I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right. Last one.
Last but certainly not least, we've got your favorite sport here. One of them.
The football.
Real football. So we've got 2019 Topps Chrome. Would you say I'm not even going to do it. Is that an acronym on the UEFA?
Oh, UEFA? Yes.
UEFA. Okay.
UEFA is United European Football Association, I think.
That's what I thought. I thought it was UEFA, but I didn't want to look dumb.
Yeah.
But you've got the Sapphire Edition PSA 10 of Erling Haaland. It's his rookie card. And you've got Kylian Mbappe, his 2018 Panini Prism World Cup Silver PSA 9. I know it's another PSA 10 versus PSA 9, but just like with the last matchup, if you try doing PSA 10 versus PSA 10 on this, it would be like 2 or 3 Haaland cards compared to Kylian's 1.
Yeah. I think this is actually trickier too, because I think they end up being teammates in a couple of months. Supposedly there is speculation that Haaland has achieved all he's wanted to achieve in England, and he would like to go play in Spain to compete really for more like long-term value stuff, in terms, i.e., he wants to go play for Real Madrid. Like that's his goal. And so I think he does end up on the same team as Mbappe, which theoretically, unless they lose players, could end up being Mbappe, Endrick, or not. I'm sorry, not Endrick. Mbappe. No, Endrick is on Real Madrid. Am I tripping?
I couldn't tell you.
I need to Google this real quick. Hold on. I think he is. No. Yes. Okay. For a second, I had a brain fart. So Endrick, Vinny Jr., Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, and Erling Haaland on the same field at the same time.
Oh my goodness!
Like that's so much talent. Like so much like dollars in just the forwards. Like
to say that's, you got to take out a couple loans for that or something.
Yeah, like they can't. I don't know how they're all going to play on the field at the same time. Honestly, like I just don't understand it. You don't really have any role players there. They all want. I mean, Jude Bellingham maybe is the most role player-esque there, which is crazy. So it's like that's just like it's crazy. But to me, the Sapphire version of this card. It's probably the 2019 Topps Chrome is probably my least favorite design, It was also the same design in baseball as well. And it's just not my favorite. But this 2018 design doesn't look any better either. The Panini Prism of this is not good either. And Mbappe looks like he's about 6 years old in this picture. So there's just so many things here. It's both of their like not current clubs, even though Mbappe currently is French still. I think I'm taking Haaland just because he hasn't made the move yet. I think he still has a better market. I think for some reason people are kind of afraid of investing in Mbappe. Like you just don't see the market really go up like it should because he's done everything that he can do. And so it's like, what are the selling markers? I think there's more selling markers in the future of Haaland than there is in Mbappe.
I was literally going to say that too, like with the selling markers, and even going to the point of, and this is more down the line, but isn't the next World Cup Haaland's first World Cup?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, Norway still has to make it.
Right. But that's another selling marker right there, and that would be pretty huge.
Yeah. I mean, if Norway were able to get in through qualifying, I mean, like he's the only person decent on that team, basically. So, I mean, that's a vast overstatement. Obviously, they're professionals. But, yeah, great gauntlet today, brother. I think all of these were really good. We don't necessarily have time to pair the winners against each other. And so I would love to do that in the future. But as of now, let me try to hit some of these questions real quick. Card Banker 20 says, he said, Lefty, 2 questions. How long would you wait to buy 2024 Bowman first autos of some second tier or sleeper prospects? Second tier and sleeper, I would wait for an entire year, actually. I don't like buying the first ones unless it's a guy that has incredibly quick to the major potential. So there are going to be some guys that we look at in the 2024 Bowman first draft. I don't know if you're talking about draft or Chrome. If you're talking about Chrome, I would say December. If you're talking about draft, I would say March at the least, unless it's a guy that has like super, super quick to the major capabilities. Like we saw Wyatt Langford this year. We saw his prices not need to go down because he hit the majors in March. So I have some Merrill, Churio, and Ellie Tops Chrome X Fractors, Prisms, Refractors coming back from PSA this week. Would you sell them right away, or at this point wait until spring to move them? I would sell Ellie right away. I think you could still make more money now with his name. I would hold Churio and probably still have enough hype for Merrill. I'm waiting until they fire their clown head coach to see what happens. Got it. Is it time to panic sell Hurts?
Yeah, I was about to say on Hurts.
I'm curious what you think there.
I need to look at their record here. So they're 4-2 right now, and let's see. They have some decently like tough games here, like in a little bit, but like they're still a decent football team. Like I would personally wait till playoff time, because they're most likely going to make the playoffs unless they somehow just completely fall apart and have injuries like the 49ers have had this whole time. But $121 I feel like is the lowest that a Hurts card is going to be.
Yeah, I just randomly chose just a random Jalen Hurts card right here, and their 267 was selling this summer, and they're 4-2, and they're selling for $121. I feel like that might be a good buy opportunity for us to buy into a quarterback that's not getting enough recognition right now and is probably going to win his division. I mean, like the Giants aren't coming. Well, I guess the Redskins. Sorry, I didn't even think about it. I am sorry. First off, Washington Football Club, the Commanders. I called them the Redskins from from 1970. So,
which the Commanders are 4-2 also, and people are saying that the Commanders are a hot football team, but completely dogging the Eagles just because the Eagles have been good for a while. That's why I think that Jalen Hurts will get his respect once the playoffs start up.
Fair. Might be something for us to watch.
Yeah.
I would actually be buying Jalen rather than selling Jalen right now. So
double up,
brother. All right. We are going to hit our have we hit our Market Movers commercial? I think we did.
I think so.
All right. I'm going to play it either way, and then we're going to hit the outro because it's been an hour.
Double up.
For those of you that are out there, we love you. Thanks for commenting. Good, honest live chat today. Love it. Keep it rolling for us in the future. For those of you guys that haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe at Lefty Cards. Follow us on Instagram, and we love having you. Thanks.
Lefty, we use a lot of data, don't we? Well, I just want everyone to know that they can get the same data we get by signing up at marketmoversapp.com. Sign up at marketmoversapp.com today, but use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% after a free 14-day trial. That's marketmoversapp.com, promo code NOOFFSEASON. Lefty, great work on today's show. Thanks for supporting Lefty Cards, part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network. Get a free 30-day trial today at NoOffSeason.com to check out our formula-based sports card rankings to help you make money flipping sports cards. Subscribe to Lefty Cards on YouTube and follow us on socials by visiting leftycards.com.